So Gavin is going to open mic by proxy, and I'll let him explain that.
Yes, I am going to open mic by proxy because I'm going to read two very short verses by a good friend of mine whose name is Taj, H. Masood Taj, who lives in Ottawa and couldn't be here today. He's actually been here several times and his poetry is amazing. He is an oral poet, that's the tradition he comes from, and for a long time he only performed oral poetry until people in Canada started getting a little worried that we were not recording this in a more physical form forever, and so he's had a few books out now. And a little while ago and this is very apt for tonight's theme, he's a calligrapher, he's an architect, and he's a poet, and he produced a series of calligraphy panels for the Canadian Embassy, for the Canadian High Commission in Bangalore in India, and it's since gone into the National Gallery. So I'll show you a sample of his calligraphy. So you get a sense of what his work looks like. It's English calligraphy, but it's got a mixture of the Arabic tradition in the mix. It's very, very beautiful, and he's just a natural at it. And I'm going to read just two verses of the poem. The book is called The Embassy of Liminal Spaces, which is especially appropriate for tonight. And see if I can find the poems, because calligraphy is a little more challenging for my eyes to grapple with. So. You know what? I think I can manage it. Wayfarer, tarry a while between your coming and going. We are all in transit. Even we who here appear to be forever wearing smiles. Or still standing. However, we are also on our way, just as night follows day and day night. We too will be out of sight and away. This place is finite, its boundaries are clear, portal to an infinite land that lies beneath your feet. So those are just two verses. So I usually read something on my own and I never know what I'm going to read until I'm here. But tonight I actually decided I was going to read a poem, and I normally never read anything else but poetry. I'm going to read some, if I can find the damn thing, some fiction. So I'm going to start by doing that. This is the beginning of a book that is called The Book My Mother Gave Me. My mother was born in Kericho, Kenya. My father does not know where he comes from. Africa is full of secrets, but it is no dark continent. It has vast open stretches, devoid of the menace of shadows. Africa's secrets are really surprises. Gazelles flushed from the tall grass by a cheetah, or ngorongoro, a miracle, a perfectly formed container for a lost world, filled with the violence of flamingos dancing against the sunrise. In the Sahara, there is danger in the shifting dunes that ululate in the screaming winds, but all of this in the harshness of light. Even in the darkness, Africa's surprises are those of light. The eyes of a lion breaking through the thorn perimeter of a camp. They shine. A leopard's cough is deadly, but only illuminates the thicket. India, on the other hand, is full of secrets of the dark kind. The kind that need people. People can come and go in waves, in processions. They rise and fade like murders. Civilizations have disappeared in India, taking with them the secret to self-sufficiency and the blueprint for the ideal sewage system, which has not yet been rediscovered in India. India has room for disappearances. Vast room is required, and it is built by men. From the continent of Asia, from the land of the rope trick, where men can charm snakes out of their skins, comes the ultimate vanishing act, the loss of self, of self-knowledge, self-worth, selfishness. It takes men to make walls and to define space arrogantly as the absence of them. In Africa, the huts huddle together and shrink from the savannah. In India, even space disappears in a black hole-like phenomenon, inside men, inside women. We define ourselves by what is lost, absences, past glories. A married woman streaks her parting red with sindoor, and what is celebrated is the departure of virginity. Krishna lived in Dwarka, and so Dwarka celebrates his memory, but the real Dwarka is 1,000 miles away. Ram, the god and the king, was not born here, but so much blood has been shed to say he was. Who knows anymore? The Taj was built for a dead wife. The West comes to India to find itself, only to find India trying to lose itself. Then there is the idea of assimilation and the terrible metaphor of rape. India, both feminine and seductive, marking the marauder into marriage. There have been many invasions, many foreigners looking for souvenirs, finding things but forgetting themselves, leaving themselves behind. The first men came here when? They stayed, and that is really the important thing. They stayed so long, even their staying has taken upon itself a sense of disappearance. Occasionally, they resurface for food, or are photographed in the act of killing fish midstream with a blowpipe, emerging from the forest to pose with a missionary anthropologist. Jarwas, Katkaris, Todas, Goms. Then came the keepers of the lost cities that dot the plains with their hidden language. Then the Aryan hordes, curd-eating, butter-besotted lovers of plenty, nomads who stopped and forgot forever who they were. And Alexander and Tughlaq and Muhammad of Ghazni and Babar and Clive and Alfonso Albuquerque and the missionaries, Thomas, the men of Zoroaster, the imams in the supply caravans. Francis Xavier came and went and came and went and died in an entirely different place, but still returned. Dead, embalmed in a crypt now, a cryptic corpse that disappears every day a little more, as Catholics cross themselves and murmur of the ultimate disappearance, the end of the world that is to come when the last sainted inch disappears. Years ago at an exposition, a woman bit his toe off, and they say he bled, but what of the toe? Has doomsday's approach been accelerated at the rate of a toe? And the blood spilled surely was a loss to St. Francis's corpus, and must also be added to the accounting. A loss upon a loss upon a loss, leading to the last judgment. How Indian. This is a poem called Jalpaiguri. It's a journey that I took with my family. If you didn't get from that piece, I have Catholic heritage. And I took a trip with my wife Leah, who's there, and my two girls, April and Faith, who aren't here today, who have been here many a time, And actually my brothers and my dad, we all went to visit my dad's sister, who was a cloistered nun in a very remote part of India, in the foothills, below the foothills actually, in the plains directly below the foothills of the Himalayas, in a place called Jalpaiguri, just below Darjeeling, where we get tea from. And my aunt was quite an unusual woman who, before she joined the cloister, worked in advertising. Yes, worked in advertising. I don't know what drove her to the cloister. I have sympathy.
Will you be joining the monastery anytime soon?
The thought has crossed my mind many a time. The place is Jalpaiguri, and that's the name of the poem. It's one in a series of 9 poems called The Novena to St. Francis Xavier. Actually, the Novena to St. X. Jalpaiguri. It rains. The jute fields fill with frogs giving thanks. A din as loud and fervent as wealthy Bengalis arguing for some other brand of communism in a Calcutta tea room, cups clattering, glasses misting as they bend to sup from saucer. Other frogs sound their pleasure like guitar strings, plucked with such intensity they break. Inside the cloister the sisters gather. Outside, the last drunks eat their boiled eggs over their last tea glasses of arak. And as the prayed incantations are drawn up by pitch pipe drone, toss insults and garbage over the convent wall. The wall has sickle and hammer graffiti and the hand of the Congress party. One holds, the others are held. A metaphor for walls. The nuns sing. Their accents are varied. What is the sound of rape in another language? This is one reason some escape to this place. Some are still mid-flight. Brown birds in rough brown wool they now repair, resting on this branch of labor and the liturgy of the hours. Their ears attend to the silence. Here, sanctuary. The psalm is of sheep. They remember their goats in Kurg and Bastar and understand with complete clarity. The nuns pray for themselves, for the busload of students who want their blessings for the exams, for the childless man, the sonless wife. They understand husbandry, grow cabbages by a carp pond. The wall encloses pasture for the most valuable thing they own, a stud bull who comes to the prioress like a dog, massive, steaming in the rain. Ashram, they call home. Work that is prayer, that is work. This is not easy. It is like a bed of stone, like their beds. They pray for the obscene drunks, for the barefoot farmer turning his bullocks in the slow muck of the flooded paddy field. They pray for rain in the other places where they ration water for the tea from high blue southern hills, their precipice forest wrapped in a mist, bound in filaments of stone-edged highway. Their own tea is from well above the rain cloud. Darjeeling sits there, halfway up the Himalayan sky, and clicks her teeth in the fog. Near enough to be heard over the fish ponds with their milling rohu and climbing perch, their glass surfaces now rain-hammered into beaten copper at sunrise. Eyes like the eyes of a slave, resting on the breath of her mistress, to you I lift my eyes. This is sung. Then the boys and girls file out in a hush of uncomprehending gratitude to the bus, to all the tests that lie ahead. The sisters' devotion is complete. When the bell rings, they eat breakfast. In the quiet, memory consumes them.